are back again with another Club 707 Assemblies. We are going to carry on looking at the Easter story. Last week, we had Margaret telling us the first part, which was about Jesus enters to Jerusalem, the Palm Sunday. Today, the second part, we are going to be looking at the Last Supper, or the Passover meal. For that, we are going to invite Alison to tell the story.
Right, so now we're on to the second part of the Easter story that we're going to tell you. There's loads of bits that we've missed out, but these are some of the important bits that we need to think about. This week, we're looking at the Last Supper. It's a time when Jesus celebrated a meal with his friends. That was the whole reason he was going to Jerusalem, you see, for that Palm Sunday, was to celebrate the meal of Passover. Now, the Jewish people still celebrate Passover today. It reminds them of when they were in Egypt in slavery and God freed them and let them go into the Promised Land. There's a film called Prince of Egypt. You may want to see that. But that was a very long time before Jesus. And you will find that throughout the Easter story, there are lots and lots of things in the Bible that Jesus completes through the Easter story. In the Old Testament, the Passover reflects a lot of the things that Jesus was going to do for us on the Easter that we are talking about today. So, on that meal, on that Passover, Jesus was sitting down with his friends, and he was going through, as a Jewish person would, all the ceremonies and all the things, all the rituals that they would have done. And they would have had 4 cups at the meal, and Jesus took one of them, and he said something very strange. He said that this wine is my blood. Drink in remembrance of me. Now that was very odd, isn't it? We don't want to think about drinking people's blood. That's yucky. But he was giving us a symbol. And the Easter story is full of symbols to help us to remember this very important part of our Christian faith. So he took the cup and he drank it. And his disciples would have drunk it. Later, he took some bread and he broke it. And he said, "This is my body, broken for you. Eat in remembrance of me." Again, we don't really want to think about eating people, do we? We're not cannibals. But again, they were symbols which we use to remember this Easter story. And in the church today, we remember it with a name. We call it communion, or we might call it Eucharist, or we might call it Mass. It depends what type of church you go to. And we celebrate it sometimes every day, or sometimes once a week, sometimes once a month. It varies in different traditions. And sometimes there's a cup which you drink out of and you pass it around. And sometimes you have little cups like these. They're cute, aren't they? And you sip them, and when you're drinking them, you're remembering that first Easter when Jesus sat down with his friends and gave them these symbols. And then you'd pass the bread round and you'd take a little bit and you'd eat it. It's not a chance for a big meal, it's a chance to remember what Jesus has done for us. So, remember that Jesus loved being with his mates, and he knew that they were his favourite people to be with and wanted to spend that time with them in that very last meal on earth that he had. But there is a sadness that ran through that meal, which we'll talk about a bit more next week. See you soon.
I love the fact that Jesus spent time with his friends and shared meals together.
I know, it was fantastic, isn't it? Because one of the last things he did on earth was to hang out with his mates. It showed what a real person he was. But hold on a minute, they didn't really eat his body and drink his blood, did they?
No, they were symbols, remember? So the wine represented Jesus' blood and the bread represented Jesus' body. Sometimes churches, they use wine or red squash, but the main important thing, they were symbols to help us to remember what Jesus did on the cross.
Ah, hey, I've just thought of something. It must have meant that Jesus knew what was going to happen to him.
Yes?
But why on earth would somebody die for us, knowing that what he was doing?
Well, very simple answer, because he loved us so much. This may be hard to understand, but his love is huge, and he would do that for us.
And I suppose his death opened up the way for us to go back to God, to be able to talk to him and be there and be accepted by him.
Absolutely.
Wow. It's an amazing story this Easter. Far more than eggs and bunnies, isn't it? Okay, we're going to leave you with a song today. We hope you enjoy it. Have a good sing, and we will see you next week in our Easter series. Bye.
See you guys.